I actually knew I was going to be first, again. I get nervous because every time I've come here I've been chosen, so it builds up this like, and I try not to care.
Well, expectation is a really good thing, isn't it? It's easier for him to expect to be chosen, and so his desire shoots out of him like a rocket, and there was very little resistance in the way. So you light it up, you made it obvious to us. We're not recalling you from before. Your now vibration just made it obvious that this is the place to begin.
I also thought about what would be helpful for everyone and not just selfishly me. And the last time I was here, it was...
Well, you know, you cannot be selfish without helping everyone.
I figured, yeah, a win-win.
Selfishness is the first step in alignment. You cannot do anything about anyone else's path of least resistance. What do you want?
Last time I was here, I came just to say thank you. My life is so amazing. People look at me and say, wow, your life's like magic. And I'm like, that's exactly what they said would happen. And from the time I was here until the time the CD came in the mail, I experienced contrast. And so I recognized what it was, and it's almost as if I was like, my life is so great. Oh yeah, boom. And so I appreciate the ability to focus.
Oh really, let's just stay there for a minute.
Okay.
Let's just stay there for a minute, because that's going to bite you in the butt the rest of your life. Because there is nothing like that. Where do you get that stuff? Do you really believe that there is someone who is not wishing you well? Do you really believe that you could get living so well that someone could look and say, oh, too much wellness for that one, let's cut him off for a little while?
I did, yes.
Well, that's just sick.
Okay.
We are playing with you.
I know.
Because we know you can take it.
I know.
And because you deserve it. But we know when you are responding to how things are, that it feels like that things are going well, then you say, oh, good for me. And if things are not going so well, then you want to assign some reason that they're not going well. But we want you, and by the end of this gathering, it is our expectation that you will understand what we're talking about. We want you to understand the perfection of contrast. Now, contrast is what causes you to clarify your desire, and without it you wouldn't clarify your desire.
That's true.
So as you clarify your desire, and then the energy calls you toward that clarified desire, that's what the true feeling of empowerment is. That's what the true feeling of passion is. But when that energy is calling and you are focused cross current of it in some way, then that resistance feels like contrast to you. What we want you to say, if you can, from now on, whenever you feel negative emotion, that means strong energy is calling, and for some reason you're having a hard time making your way through the resistance that you yourself have put upon your physical trail.
And I'm mad at myself because I feel like I know better, and I'm like, why can I manifest all these things and I struggle here?
All right, now how about this? Just listen to these words, because this is absolute. And given what you just said, it may be hard for you to hear it in this moment, but we want you to hear it. What if your own inner being is guiding you to contrast for the benefit of the clarity that it will bring? Because if it is true, and it is, that things are always working out for you, then wouldn't a contrasting, clarifying experience be of benefit to you?
Yes.
Did you really think that as a creator that your work is just to find a happy place and just stay there in contentment forevermore? That isn't what
I wanted to be like the Princess and the Pea. I feel a pea. I wanted this nice season.
The pea was contrast.
Yeah.
She didn't like it. Now we're into fairy tale. Contrast is clarifying. Just say that to yourself. Contrast is clarifying. Now, you don't have to allow the momentum of contrast to get so great that it is uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter if you do. But the most important thing that we want to say to you is, you are never being tested. You are never being punished. You are never being neglected. But you do have some of those beliefs that you've picked up along your physical trail. And that belief, do you remember, try to think back, how much more that negative emotion felt when you came to the conclusion that there was something wrong with you? when you got so mad at yourself, like I'm doing something inappropriate here, that's when the discord really became strong.
Yes.
What's the problem with contrast? I prefer that to that, and that to that, and that to that. Do you eat everything that everybody puts in front of you? The waiter comes to the table, what would you like? Just bring me your favorite, you say.
I do say that actually sometimes when I go.
There's no hope for you. You do like to choose. You do like to choose. This is what this whole conversation is about. You like to define who you are and what you want, and you will never cease doing that. So you must make peace with contrast. So step one is contrast helps you to define what you want. Wanting is born out of it, clarity of desire. Step two is source begins right away, actualizing around what you're asking for. Step three is you have to find some way of getting in the vibrational vicinity so that that vibration can begin to be realized by you. That's how the vibration turns to the thoughts and the emotions, and that turns to the things. In other words, that's what the process is. That's what the evolutionary process is. So as you reach that step three place, of course you've got to practice it until you own it. You've got to practice it because you've been practicing thoughts that contradict it. You've been practicing things, and the nice thing about law of attraction, and sometimes you say the not so nice thing about law of attraction, is that it brings you what you think about. You get what you think about. You get what you believe. So if you've got some beliefs that don't serve you, it still keeps coming to you. And so that's what that emotion is, to let you know that you are focused upon a belief that isn't serving you, that is contrary to what your source knows about exactly the same subject. So then you get really good at this. You get really good at step three. You get so good at step three that you are living a sort of unconditional love life. The conditions don't upset you so much anymore. The conditions don't produce the emotion in you the way they used to, because you've gotten so good at caring about the way you feel that you've begun guiding your thoughts based upon how they feel, rather than just sloppily looking at the wheel that is squeaking the most loudly. But still, you're moving into new territory all the time. You're asking for things you've never asked for before. So you have to give yourself the opportunity to find your soothing relative to every subject. And once you get really good at that, once you are good at finding that uncondition, which is what we're calling the emotion, the condition isn't the way that you want it, but you don't need it to change in order to feel better. You've practiced well enough that you can feel better. And so now you've mastered step four. You're living sort of unconditionally. You're not needing things to be a certain way in order to feel good. So when you see a little contrast, you don't see it as something that's gone wrong. You see it as an opportunity of clarification. You see it as an opportunity for you to define or refine even more clearly who you are and what you want. And now you've stepped into what we are calling step five. Now you are appreciating the contrast, because the contrast doesn't take you out anymore. It doesn't make you vomit anymore. It doesn't double you over with a knot in your stomach anymore. It's just variety. Now you are solidly in step four, and then stepping every now and again into step five, where you are understanding that contrast is a good thing. Contrast, variety, is the basis of the universe. Contrast is the strength of everything that is. Without contrast, all the wonderful things that currently are couldn't have been if there had not been contrast that caused new desires to be born. So now you are fully functioning vibrational being, focused in a leading edge universe, where you are not just, now hear this is the new step that we want you to really understand, where you are not dependent upon the now reality for the dreams that you are able to dream. You don't need everybody to understand what you now know in order for you to live it. You are able to be a pioneer. You are able to be that leading edge thinker. You are able to stand out in a world that is a new reality for you, that maybe most of the world has not yet caught up with, because you have mastered the vibrations of the universe. You've learned to harness and focus and flow and feel and guide yourself, you see. You are no longer someone who needs the conditions to be just right before you can feel better, who needs to lock these people up and move these people over there and segregate these people over there and bomb these people over here. You are no longer one who is so fearful for your own well-being that you need to try to block out everything that you don't agree with. Instead, you're able to allow it all to exist while you focus yourself in this variety of so much brilliance into the perfect life experience that you choose for yourself, allowing others to choose whatever they choose. It's what you came for.